Coming to you live from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism is a very special edition of the Harris Highlight Show live on BlazeRadioOnline.com, guys. We've got a very special guest joining us today, three-year NFL veteran with the Baltimore Ravens and Samford alum Michael Pierce. Now, Michael, I know it's probably been a hectic week for you out there, so we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. How's your day going so far?
Oh, my pleasure, man. My day's going well. I'm sitting on the couch watching a little TV, so I'm good.
Now I got to ask, what are you watching right now?
This is a show me and my girlfriend watch. I might be a little embarrassed, but I'm catching up on the latest version of Housewives of Potomac, Maryland.
I love it. Hey, Michael, it's all good. Me and my roommates, we watch Bachelor in Paradise when it's on, so you got no reason to be embarrassed, my man. But so as I mentioned, it's a hectic week for you. You're in Pittsburgh the other night. You're going to be in Cleveland this upcoming Sunday. So take us through what like an NFL week is like for you. I'm sure this week it's a little more hectic than others, but especially this week, what's the schedule look like for you?
So Mondays we have off. Most guys use those days to recover. Some guys like Terrell Suggs and the older veterans, they kind of start their week early, so they'll come in and get a lift, get ice tub, cold tub, adding masseuses and acupuncture guys come in. Everybody reports to work on Tuesday. We watch the film from the previous game and go over the stuff for the new week. So we watched Cleveland and got mentally prepared for those guys. Wednesday, we have full pad practices, so you can imagine what that's like. That lasts about 2.5 hours. You normally up at the facility for like 6 or 7 hours on Wednesdays. Thursdays we do shells, so helmets and soft shoulder pads. Kind of still physical, but not as physical as full pads, of course. Fridays we call it Fast Fridays here. Just helmets, more working on speed and just getting to where you need to be in a full speed manner. Saturdays a walkthrough. Sundays game time.
Going off of that, football-wise, what are some of the biggest differences between a week of practice in college and a week of practice with the Ravens?
It's the sheer amount of time you have to devote to football is totally different. So I believe in college, I think you can spend 20 hours a week between lifts, meetings, and football. So, of course, in the NFL, I mean, you have to be up there for, I want to say, like 30 to 40 hours a week. And then if you really want to be good, if you emulate Eric Weddle, Terrell Suggs, the Brandon Williamses, and those kind of guys and Joes, you're pulling 50 hours a week easy.
You bring up guys like Eric Weddle and Terrell Suggs. What of those storied veterans, what have they been able to teach you throughout your first 3 years in the league?
A ton of lessons, man. But what I take from them the most is just how dedicated they are. Those guys eat, breathe, and sleep football, so I think we got home. We played Sunday night. We got home at 2:45. Landed at the Baltimore airport at 2:45. Terrell Suggs was in the weight room, I kid you not, at 7 a.m. working out. So, those guys have families. I think Terrell has 3 kids. Eric Weddle has 4 kids maybe. And you just see the kind of time they put into their craft and the field, the results on the field speak for themselves. So, if you can get under guys like that, it's been a great help for me, and I just try to copy exactly what they do so I can try to fall in line and be the best I can be.
Is Eric Weddle's beard as great in person as it looks on TV?
Dude, it's ridiculous. Like, in team meetings, he had like this big old brush, and like he literally just brushes it all day. It's weird to see, but I mean he has like all kinds of endorsements and all that kind of stuff, strictly solely off his beard. So I mean, yeah, no, it takes a lot of work to do shampoos, the crap, and like I want to say his barber like literally shakes it up perfectly like once a week. So it's a sight to see.
Now, you talked about some of these veteran guys, and I'm sure for them it's kind of like their game face is on 24/7, but in the locker room, who's the guy that you would say is kind of like the locker room clown, like the craziest guy, the guy that's just kind of always causing havoc there in the locker room, whether it be pregame or postgame?
Well, you can probably Googled it. Like, Terrell Suggs, I tell anybody and everybody who asks me that question, is the funniest dude I've ever met in my life. Just the sheer amount of stories. I mean, he came into the league when he was 20. And, like, he grew up in the national spotlight. And, you know, like, I think his second year, he was in the Pro Bowl. And, like, all pros and all that kind of stuff. He's a surefire Hall of Famer. So, like, all his growing pains and crazy stories from him and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed growing up together and doing crazy stuff. And back when they were winning Super Bowls, the dude is a funny guy. Hollywood guy. He has his own movie. Production companies and ballers. So, like, the sheer life experiences that he's had is mind blowing to, like, any normal person.
And as an Arizona State alum, you know, this warms our hearts. You know, we love hearing these great stories. Now this answer,
right.
Now you're allowed to have a little bias on this one. It's okay, but you've played, you know, in some of the biggest stadiums across the country now. In games that you've performed in, what would you say is, like, the craziest environment, like the craziest fans, the loudest it's been? Like I said, you can have a little bias as well, but if there's some other ones, you know, don't feel hesitant to name those as well.
Oh, no. Look, I'll tell you this. My rookie year, it was, I think, week 12, we played at Gillette Stadium against Tom Brady. That was the craziest game, I mean, that I have been in personally. It meant a lot to both teams. We were all trying to get in the playoffs at that time. So that was probably the craziest atmosphere. Just, you know, growing up, as a kid from Alabama, we don't have any professional sports teams. And, you know, it's the GOAT. It's Tom Brady. I'm literally 2 feet away from this man. The crowd is everything that you see on TV. So that was crazy. And unfortunately, we lost this game, but our Steelers game right before Christmas, 2016, the one where Antonio Brown, that's all on all the commercials where he reached the ball over the goal line. Those 2 games are comparable, but just for me personally, to be 2 feet away from Tom Brady and actually get a hit on him was like a dream come true. Crazy.
Now, you mentioned some of these guys that you've played with and played against, and, I mean, being a guy from Samford, kind of a smaller school, but you actually played against a couple of your Ravens teammates when you were back in college, like Alex Collins when he was playing at Arkansas. So what's it like playing against former opponents now in the NFL?
Dude, it's crazy. So we played against Alex Collins. My roommate in college was actually one of his childhood best friends. So, like, I spoke to him then. We were, like, kind of cool. We knew of each other. And then when he came here midway through my rookie year, it was like a reunion. But the most interesting dude I played with, we played against Lamar Jackson his true freshman year. I want to say it was the second game he had played in. And this was kind of before, like, the legend grew. And, of course, before he won the Heisman, he was just like, yo, we were on the scouting report. He wasn't even the starting quarterback at the time. They were just like, yo, we got to watch out for this kid. He's really athletic. You know, he has a big arm. They didn't know exactly, you know, I don't think he was a 5-star athlete coming out of high school. But whatever he was, they knew he was good, but nobody knew he would be who he is today. Yeah, I would say we were his coming out party, to say the least. I think like 350 total yards later. We were on his end a few times on the wrong end, but when he came in, he actually remembered who I was. I missed 3 sacks that day. So yeah, that was a good laugh, and yeah, that's probably the craziest story I have.
So now you mentioned Lamar Jackson. Now, for those of us that were watching, you know, your Week 1 performance, you know, late in the game when Lamar was in, well, he kind of scrambled away and just kind of threw the ball out of bounds. And you were sitting on the bench. You reached up and you made a nice snag. So how does it feel? I mean, I don't know if technically that was like your first catch, but how does it feel to catch a ball from Lamar Jackson, especially being as far on the sidelines as you were?
Dude, that ball had some heat on it. And, you know, normally quarterbacks lost the ball when they throw it out of bounds. He put some heat on that ball. My fingers swelled up. Literally, I kid you not. 2 days later, my fingers were still swollen. But, yeah, it was fun, man. I played a little fullback in college, scored a couple touchdowns, but, yeah, that was kind of crazy to think that like that'll be all over Twitter and stuff.
So after that happened, did you make it clear to John Brown and Michael Crabtree that you are now Lamar Jackson's #1 wide receiver?
I think they would have a lot to say about that, especially Crab, and knowing how animated he can be at times. And seeing what John Brown did this past Sunday, I'm sure they would all laugh at that in a joking manner.
So you started your college career at Tulane, and then was an a conference all freshman honoree, and then you got the opportunity to go back home and play at Samford in your home state of Alabama. What was that like?
Man, it was awesome. I chose Tulane because my pops played there back in the late '80s. Just didn't work out for me personally, but coming back home to Samford was awesome. My best friend from my childhood days, Jaquaski Hart, played at Samford. He was a second-round pick. He just got a contract extension this past year with the 49ers. So, being back with him, playing with the guys I played with, like James Bradbury, another second-round pick with the Panthers, learning from some guys like Nick Williams, who's with the who is he with? I think he's up in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. But I learned a ton from all those guys, and just being back home and being able to produce in the way that I did was big for me.
Now, you're from Daphne, and Samford's what? That's Birmingham area. So were you able to have family come out there? Because I know it's a relatively short drive.
Yeah, it was probably 3 hours at the most. But yeah, man, it was awesome. My family was right down the road. It was cool. It was the perfect move for me. Just knowing my personality, I enjoy a more quieter collegiate setting, just so I can focus on my work and focus on football. So it was huge for me. It was definitely a game changer.
Nice.
Now, I asked you earlier about, craziest environments in the NFL, but as we all know, there's some college football stadiums out there that have some crazy ones. You for Samford now, we're going out there every week to some of the craziest environments, but you did travel to a few good places. So in your Samford career, what was the craziest game day environment that you witnessed?
We played Auburn my junior year, and it was their homecoming. So that was a packed house. Our former coach, Coach Pat Sullivan, won the Heisman at Auburn. I want to say in the 50s, but I could be wrong. So, we played them at home. They had a packed house. Every seat was sold out for that. Bo Jackson was there. It was cool to see him just on the field. But a slept-on stadium that I could give you is Appalachian State. They are in, Boone, North Carolina, up in the mountains. Beautiful place. High elevation. That's the only thing in town. Their whole town is at every game. Obviously, they're really good. They beat Michigan a while ago, and they moved up to D1 from D1 AA. So, Appalachian State is a slept-on environment, but definitely unlike anything I had seen just on the D1 AA level, without a doubt.
Well, Michael, sticking on your time at Samford, or not your time at Samford, I should say, but Samford in general, this season, they hung with Florida State in a big way. They had a lead going into the fourth quarter, and all of us here thought they were going to pull off the upset. Were you watching that game at all? And if you were, what was your reaction to that game?
I watched every minute of that game. I probably shouldn't have. It kept me up. It was a rain delay, so it kept me up to about 12:30. And we had a 12 o'clock game the following Sunday. But, yeah, man, we have, I want to say 3 legit, if not draftable guys, they'll definitely get a shot free agent-wise in the NFL. So, Devlin Hodges is an amazing quarterback. If all your listeners go check him out on YouTube, the dude is amazing. We have Kelvin McKnight. He's out of Florida. So, that was a homecoming game for them. I think he had, 200 yards or 175 yards receiving that game. So he's going to be a prospect, and Ahmad Gooden is a defensive end. He actually got a sack in that game and played really well. So, we fared really well. I personally couldn't have hoped for a better game. Of course, we would love to have the win, but to see those guys get to play on that stage, and me being in that position before, you just want to put your best out there. And that's what they did, and I was proud, man.
So now back in 2016, you go undrafted, but you didn't let that stop you. You're the only Raven that made the roster week 1 that went undrafted. So, I mean, for all these guys, draft day is like the biggest day in their lives. And for many, they don't get the opportunity to hear their name get drafted. But for you, did you use that kind of as extra motivation to prove your worth, to show that you're worthy of a roster spot?
Yeah, without a doubt. But like I said, the NFL has always been my goal. Growing up in the football house, of course, my dad played at Tulane. He played in the Senior Bowl and got a free agent shot with the Eagles. That just didn't work out. He tore his knee up. But just seeing, like, all the plaques and stuff on those walls and knowing that, my dad made it there, and that's something that I always strive for. So even when I got to college, a lot of kids spend, like, spring breaks partying. I would go home and train with my trainer 7 days. Just do anything I can to make sure that if I was afforded the opportunity, I would be ready. So, I definitely had a chip on my shoulder. I was in a really, really deep draft class with the guys from Bama like Ashawn Robinson and Jaron Reed. And it was a plethora of guys who were in the league doing well. So I knew kind of going in what my chances would be. They told me late rounds. Fortunately, it didn't happen. But, that's all the fire I needed to carry me through today. I still play with that fire each and every practice, each and every game. So, I don't think I needed that tip, but it's on my shoulder, and it's going to stay there till I leave, man.
Well, when John Harbaugh came and talked to you and broke the news that you had made the team back in 2016, what was your reaction to that?
I held it together, honestly, while I was on the phone with them. Cut days, they let everybody go home, see their families, and they call you and inform you whether you make it or you don't. So I was in the team hotel, man, sitting in the room, just praying that whenever the call came, it would be positive news. So I held it together when I was on the phone with them. But as soon as I got off the phone, man, I shed a few tears. I called my parents, and just to hear the elation of my parents' voice and just how proud they were, I literally lost it. So, it was tears of joy for sure, man. It made the undrafted process seem minuscule. Just to know I made the team, and I think we even cut a draft pick my year. So that was a special moment. That was my draft day, if you will. So that was great for me, man.
All right, so we took to Twitter and we took to YouTube and we asked some of the fans and viewers to ask some questions they had for you. So we got a few quick ones now. On game day, what's your go-to playlist or your go-to song?
I vary in playlist. So I go to chapel. I'll start off with a few gospel songs. My favorite rapper is Rick Ross. Can't go wrong with Rick Ross on game day. So my favorite song he has is probably Mafia Music 2. I actually listened to that today. And it's not like a upbeat kind of song. It's really relaxed. And for me, I tend to get hyped up at 8 a.m. So for me, on game day, I need to come down before kickoff. So I'll play something real smooth. I know the words. I can bob my head, get in my zone, and that's all I need, man.
Now, I'm sure during the weeks during the season, you got to stick to a strict diet, but we all got to have a cheat meal every now and then. So for you, what's your go-to cheat meal?
My go-to, it varies depending on how much I weigh. So if I'm light that week, I'm definitely going for pizza and wings with a little dessert, maybe an apple pie on the side. But if I'm a little heavy, I'll stick to like a whole wheat pasta, like lasagna or something to that effect. So it kind of varies. Normally after Thanksgiving, us nose guards tend to get a little heavy. You get a few too many cheat meals in around Thanksgiving, especially when my mom comes and cooks. So I gotta watch that. But at the beginning, I'm hot. I'm on the meal prep 6 days out the week. I'm good. I'm going for pizza every time, man.
Nice. Now, Back in 2016, when I was talking to you, you labeled yourself as the strongest man in college football because there was a video of you, and I believe it made it to SportsCenter as well, of you squatting 725 pounds. So I'm not asking you right now to have a squat off because I think we know how that's going to turn out. But in the locker room with all the guys, is there any player on your team that you think could take you one-on-one in like an arm wrestling match, or do you think you got it covered?
Arm wrestling? Well, yeah. If you Google Brandon Williams to see the sheer size of this dude's arm, it's like ridiculous. So yeah, I'm a pretty well-rounded lifter, but my thing is squatting. I love to squat, and Brandon's is curls and bench press. So yeah, we're about the same strength, to be honest with you. So that'd probably be like a pretty cool thing for people to see, actually, now that I think about it.
Now, we got one question left, but before that, one of the comments that we actually got was, tell him that Brandon Teeling says what's up. We had lockers right next to each other at Samford.
Oh, my goodness. My dog, yeah. Yeah, Brandon Teeling out of Tampa, Florida. I will never forget him. He's an awesome teammate, man. Great person.
Yes.
If you're listening, what's up, bro? DM me on Instagram. We'll have a chat or whatever. But, yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, very, very small world. All right, Michael, final question. Now, this may be kind of a tough one, but tell us something that maybe nobody knows about Michael Pierce. This could be the fans. This could be like guys in the locker room, something that surprises them. One thing that people would be surprised to know about you.
I'm sure they'd be surprised to know that I watch Housewives.
Well, let's just hope that none of them are listening right now. Let's just hope for that.
Right. Outside of that, I'm a real laid-back dude, man. I enjoy classical music. Jazz is my go-to outside of football and outside of workouts. So I'm a real laid-back guy. I got into traveling a lot this off season. I went to Israel and Punta Cana. I just developed a love for boats. So, yeah, I've gotten to sail boats, and I am classical music junkie as well as jazz music. So
that's awesome.
That's probably something. Yeah.
Back to the NFL for one question. We see now a lot of times after games, guys jersey swap with one another. If you could do a jersey swap with one player, any position, anybody currently NFL, who would it be?
Let's see. That's tough. My favorite player retired last year. But let me just shout out James Harrison first and foremost. If I can get his jersey in my house, that would be a dream come true for me. That's been my favorite player since I've grown up. But in the NFL today, outside of Tom Brady, I would have to say, I'd say Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers plays the game, plays the game well, at an exceptional level each and every year. And, man, I grew up watching this dude. He's literally still in the pros while I'm here today. So outside of any of my teammates like Terrell Suggs or anything like that, of course, yeah, to have an Aaron Rodgers jersey up in my house would be, like, ridiculous.
All right, well, hopefully we can get in contact with James and Aaron. Hopefully we can get those jerseys in your house sometime because that would be awesome. But, Michael, once again, my man, thank you so much for taking the time and just chatting with us. And it was a great time. And best of luck this week in Cleveland, and best of luck the rest of the season, my man.
My pleasure, brother. Anytime. And thank you, Blake, for making my highlight in college that made my day, made my year. So just have people see my highlight. It's something any D1AA player would love to have. So thank you.
Of course, man. You were probably to this day still one of the most humble players that I made a tape for. So I can't stress enough how appreciative I am. And again, you deserve all the success. So best of luck with you the rest of the way. And we'd definitely love to get you on the show another time in the near future.
Oh, yeah. Anytime, my brother. God bless.
All right, my man. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right, guys. So that was Michael Pierce.
All right.
Of the Baltimore Ravens. So, best of luck to him this week in Cleveland. Ranked number 7, according to Pro Football Focus, in regards to nose tackles in the NFL. So, just like that, in 3 years, he went from being undrafted to the number 7 nose tackle in all
I'll
of the
tell you
NFL.
this:
coming out of Samford too.
Nose tackle is a dirty position. Those big boys up front know how to play some football.
And on Pro Football Focus too, they have him like just under the elite category. Like this guy is just a small step away from being considered an elite nose tackle in the NFL.
And keep in mind, this all comes from transferring from a top-tier Division I program, per se, in Tulane, transferring to a smaller school in Samford, going in undrafted, and then getting to where he is today. That speaks volumes, and that goes down to his character and then the dedication that he has to the game. So that was a fun interview, really talking with him.
Yeah, so if you tuned in, thank you so much for listening. Now, you can listen live to the Harris Highlight Show Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. on BlazeRadioOnline.com. We talk a lot of college football, have some fun segments, have a lot of good guests. Don't want to, let what's going on this upcoming year, but we got some good ones coming. We've had some good ones in the past. So if you like college football, you definitely don't want to miss the Harris Highlight Show. For Josh Schaefer, Lyle Goldstein, Brady Klain, and Michael Pierce, this has been Blake Harris from the Bill Austin Radio Studio, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday night.